Welcome to Meaningful Activities to Generate Interesting Classrooms. Section 4, Part 4, Positioning Activities Review, Introduction, Conference Call. We continue our discussion as to how to purposefully position the activities we use in a lesson so that they have the greatest impact. In this section, we are going to focus on review activities. Please locate page 135, section 4, part 4, Positioning Activities Review, and note the quotations on this page. To remember what we have learned over the long term, we need to review what we have learned, and we need to do this often. Spiral reviews are ones that go around and around and around so that you never forget. Both of these quotations address the importance of review activities and spiral review to enhance the retention of concepts over time. We want to avoid one-shot teaching in which we only address a topic once and then move on to other aspects of the curriculum. Most of the time, when students are presented with new information, one skill or chunk at a time, they may not grasp the concept completely the first time or remember it over time. In this section, we will discuss positioning activities for the purpose of review. Please locate page 136, Review Activities. Remember this? When students participate in review activities, they have an opportunity to revisit content previously learned, identify what they remember, relearn what they have forgotten, and reinforce what they have learned. In the past, educators went into review mode prior to testing in an effort to cram in enough information to get students through the test. However, this review method has been replaced with the research-based strategy of spiral review. On page 136, please read the two paragraphs about spiral review, highlighting points that are most relevant to you. Please take a moment to read this slide. Spiral review activities include, but are not limited to, review opening acts, whole or small group review activities, review centers, review games, review homework, and student-created review, or double learning. What types of review do you tend to do in your classroom? Do you facilitate a trivia review at the end of each unit? Do your students write review questions and then review one another? Do you like review games? Does the competition make it more interesting? Remember, brain research shows that if we want a concept to stick, we must teach it, practice it, and then revisit it multiple times. This repeated review signals the brain that it is important and helps the brain pattern it for long-term encoding and decoding. For our next activity, we are going to adapt the activity directions for our remote learning environment. The original directions are provided in case you would like to use this review activity in your face-to-face classroom. Our next activity, Ask Me a Question, is an effective review activity because it requires a certain amount of knowledge about the subject in order to guess the person, place, or thing. It can, however, be used for other purposes, example, introductory, or practice. Please turn to page 137, Activity, Ask Me a Question. The Ask Me a Question activity is a good way to develop questioning skills in students because they are required to ask a series of yes or no questions to determine the person, place, or thing. This type of questioning can hone students' ability to ask targeted questions as they refine their questions each time they receive an answer. For example, questioning might start with, "Am I a person?" If the answer is yes, The next question might be, am I a historical figure? The questions become more and more narrow until the student guesses the person. Acceptable question. Was this person a Spanish explorer? Unacceptable question. What country did this explorer represent? The cards can be created by the teacher or the students, double learning, and should have content on both sides. When the student guesses the content on one side, the card can be turned over and the students can continue playing. Please go to Canvas Modules Section 4 Part 4, Ask Me a Question. Using the editable Google Slides presentation, each of you will create one Ask Me a Question card related to your content area. Topics could include vocabulary words, types of rocks, types of advertisements, food groups, countries, states, parts of a plant, historical figures, characters in a story, biomes, animals, insects, predators, or prey. We will then share our cards with the class. As you participate in this activity, look for the same multiple means of engagement, action, and expression that were evident in the practice activities section. How did this activity provide multiple means of engagement, action, or expression? Engagement. Could you ask any yes or no question? Action. Was there some hands-on activity when creating cards? Expression. Did this activity require creativity? In what ways did this activity support review? Did you have to draw on your previous knowledge of these characters? Did you have access to what you learned and used recall to solve the problem? Let's take a look at an alternative way to use Ask Me a Question. Please locate page 138, Activity QFL Ask Me a Question. An alternative to this review activity would be to allow students to ask more open-ended questions rather than yes or no questions. These types of questions give students practice asking and answering questions at different levels of thinking, using the Question for Life keywords. Take a moment to read the directions for the QFL Ask Me a Question activity. Please take a moment to read and review the activity assets on page 138 to debrief this activity. Remember, this activity is a perfect example of how to make the review and revisiting content more engaging and fun by adding movement and solving a problem. Remember that card content should be a spiral review of both previous and current concepts. This is also a good activity for double learning because students could create the card content. Let's continue our exploration of review activities. Unlike Ask Me a Question, our next activity focuses less on movement and more on hands-on. The next activity is similar to Scoot, only instead of students moving from card to card, the cards are passed around the room and students remain seated. Please locate page 139, Activity Card Pass, Famous Places. This activity requires students to visually recognize famous landmarks or attractions, identify them by name, and then identify the country or state in which they are located. Visual memory is often one of the most powerful types of memory, so it is critical that we teach students to recognize certain things in our curriculum by sight. As the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. In a spiral review, these cards would involve materials previously and currently being studied. Please go to Modules Section 4, Part 4, Card Slide Pass. Use the viewable Google Slides presentation to identify a series of numbered pictures showing a famous landmark or attraction. For example, card 1 is the same picture that you see on the bottom of page 141. You will work with your partner and identify the name of the famous landmark or attraction shown on each slide, and identify the name of the country in which it is located for slides 1 through 9, the name of the state in which it is located for slides 10 through 18. For slide 1, note that the famous landmark is identified as the Pyramid of Giza, which is located in Egypt. As an extra challenge, see if you can identify the city, which in this case would be Cairo. With your partners, use the editable Google Doc assigned to your group to write your answer on the line that corresponds to the number on the slide. Please do not use your devices to find the answer. If you do not know the answer or wish to guess, put a check mark next to the corresponding number on the answer sheet. This indicates that you have seen the slide and may come back to it later if time allows. Please be sure each member of your group has an opportunity to share responses in the Google Doc. Also, remember not to check your answers until your entire document is complete. Let's review the answers to this card slide pass. Please take a moment to review these answers. How did this activity provide multiple means of engagement, action, or expression? Engagement. Were certain images more engaging because of personal travel or interests? Action. Were you able to visit and revisit slides in any order? Expression. Did the activity require visual recognition and creative problem solving? What topics in your curriculum would be a good fit for a picture-oriented card pass spiral review activity? Could it be pictures of state shapes, historical figures, historical events, presidents, world leaders, different biomes, animals, insects, predators, prey, characters in a story, geometric shapes? Please take a moment to review the activity assets on page 140 to debrief this activity. Remember, online images make it easy to create cards. This is a good activity for double learning because students could search for images and create the cards. Keep in mind that the card pass does not have to involve pictures. The same curriculum problems used for Scoot could be used for a card pass if the teacher wanted something less movement oriented. The card content should be a spiral review of both previous and current concepts. Our next spiral review activity utilizes both analysis and synthesis thinking while reviewing concepts and skills. It also uses clues to enhance the level of interest and engagement. Please locate page 142, activity Clue Me In. Clue Me In analysis starts with the answer and breaks it down into 3 clues. Analysis involves breaking a whole into its parts. Clue Me In synthesis starts with the clues and combines them to determine the answer. Synthesis involves combining and creating a whole. Let's do an example of both the Clue Me In analysis and Clue Me In synthesis. Please turn your attention to the subheading Clue Me In Analysis Example on this page. In this example, we are studying early explorers, in particular Christopher Columbus. Use your analysis skills to write 3 clues about Christopher Columbus on the lines provided. Be aware of the order of your clues, writing the most general clue first and the most obvious clue last. Here are potential Columbus clues that could be used. He sailed across the Atlantic Ocean 4 times. He was an Italian explorer. He sailed the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria on his first voyage. The third clue should be so obvious that it gives you the right answer if you know anything about the subject. You might have your students consult with a partner to ensure that their clues are ordered appropriately. The benefit of this activity as a review activity is that students hear many different facts about a particular topic. Please turn your attention to the subheading Clue Me In Synthesis Example on the bottom of page 142. In this example, the topic is artists, and you will see 4 potential answers listed: Picasso, Wyeth, Dali, and Rockwell. I will give you 3 clues that refer to just one of them, reading the most general clue first. Write your best guess on the clue number 1 line for this first clue. Write your best guess on the clue number 2 line for the second clue. Write your best guess on the clue number 3 line for the final clue. Write your final answer on the answer line. Who is the artist? Salvador Dali. You may have noticed that this activity is similar to the game 20 Questions. This type of review can be used with any curriculum topic. Next, you will have an opportunity to create Clue Me In analysis clues for your own curriculum. Please locate page 143, Clue Me In Analysis. Choose 3 spiral topics from your curriculum, 3 content-related people, places, objects, or concepts. Write 3 clues that will lead to each topic's identification. Use your creative and critical thinking. The first clue should be the most difficult, obscure, vague, or broad, and might suggest several possible answers. For example, if your topic was George Washington, your first clue might read, "He led troops in the Revolutionary War." Broad possibilities. The second clue should be an answer and lead to fewer possible answers, and the third clue should be the most obvious and almost reveal the correct answer. Write 3 to 4 potential answers for each topic. In a moment, you will use one set of the Clue Me In analysis clues you just wrote for others to guess. Please go to Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 4, Clue Me In Synthesis. Please locate page 144, Clue Me In Synthesis. Please make a copy of the Clue Me In Synthesis Google Slides presentation. Choose one of your 3 topics and complete each slide of the Clue Me In presentation. Write each clue, clue 1, 2, and 3, on separate slides. Number each clue. Clue 1 is the most general clue, and clue 3 is the most obvious clue. When it is your turn to share your Clue Me In synthesis presentation, show your clues one at a time, showing the most difficult clue first. Be sure to allow thinking time between clues. Use pages 145 to 147, Clue Me In Synthesis answer sheet to write down your guesses and a final answer. Once you write down your answer, you may not change it. To demonstrate what you will do, let's do the example on the bottom of page 144. In this example, the topic is body parts, and the 4 potential answers are lungs, heart, stomach, and liver. Write your best guess on the clue number 1 line for the first clue. Write your best guess on the clue number 2 line for the second clue. Write your best guess on clue number 3 line for the third clue. Write your final answer on the answer line. What is the body part? Liver. You will now present your clues. Post your completed Clue Me In synthesis presentation to Canvas Modules Section 4 Part 4 Clue Me In Synthesis Discussion Area. Reply to at least 2 classmates to let them know if you were able to figure out the answer based on the clues. How did this activity provide multiple means of engagement, action, or expression? Engagement. Did you choose your topics and clues? Action. Did you make your slides? Expression. Did the activity require creative problem solving, possibility thinking, and searching for alternatives? What topics in your curriculum would be a good fit for a Clue Me In analysis and synthesis spiral review activity? Please take a moment to review the activity assets to debrief this activity. Remember, writing and guessing clues makes the review activity more engaging and interesting. The variety of clues provides various points of information about the topic. This is a good variety for double learning because students can create their own clues and review information as they do so. Then, students revisit the information again when they guess the clues. Remember that the topic should be a spiral review of both previous and current concepts. The rest of this session will be for you to work independently through the material. There will now be narrated PowerPoints on Canvas, Module Section 4 Part 4, to walk you through the rest of today's activities. Please be sure to post the activities in the discussion area or submitted assignment area before our next class. Remember, even though these activities are not graded, they must be completed to report your successful completion to your university partner. Immediately after the conference call, you will go to Canvas Modules Section 4 Part 4 Positioning Activities Review to participate in a treasure hunt. Let's see what you have around you. Your next video reflects on classroom and reflection connections, where we have an opportunity to determine which activities we want to take back to our classrooms. The third video focuses on Activity Sharing Session 4. Finally, we will review future preparations to determine which game-based learning activities we will complete. Let the good times begin. If you have any questions while you work, please call or email your instructor. This concludes Section 4 Part 4 Introduction Conference Call. Please continue to Module Section 4 Part 4 Positioning Activities Review, Treasure Hunt.